Came across this cool but scary practice of shadow work, but wondering if there are some dangers involved? Then pay close attention because in this video I'm gonna discuss top 6 dangers of shadow work. I'm Yash from Effortless and we're starting now. Shadow work danger number 1. Demonic nature of some shadows. Your shadow contains a collection of hated and unloved aspects of you that you have put out of your awareness. As the time passed, those aspects of you got distorted, and every time they came up, they were met with fear, hate, denialism, and escapism. They were distorted so much so that they became demonic by nature, like a dog who's chained out in the summer sun with no food or water. Shadows have a demonic nature, which means it can completely possess you if you aren't present or grounded enough. And when they do so, they can hurt yourself or another. I won't say that this is true for everyone, as not everyone's shadow becomes so dark, yet this is possible for many of us. Now the good news is, the shadow work is an act of responding consciously rather than an unconscious reaction. And the light of consciousness integrates the shadow. So, although the shadow is there, the awareness is also there, which takes away the reactive tendency of the shadow. Shadow work danger number 2. Low self-esteem can be a problem. With low self-esteem comes pessimism, ungroundedness, and lack of presence. Therefore, if you have a low self-esteem, you will tend to be flown away with your shadow, believing everything that it's saying to be true. This will lead to the feeling that the task is impossible, infinite, not going anywhere. Then we tend to just react out of the shadow and feel a sense of failure and disappointment with ourselves. So, if you struggle with self-confidence, low self-esteem, or if you're not very grounded, shadow work can be increasingly difficult. Now, how to overcome that? The main problem is ungroundedness. This causes us to be flown away with the shadow. To overcome that, you come back to the present moment every time you find yourself drifting away with your shadows. Practicing meditation also helps a lot to increase your presence and groundedness. Also, do it with strong and healthy ego that can take criticism. Shadow work danger number 3. Doing it the wrong way. There are some major mistakes that are fundamental when you do the shadow work for the first time. Also, there are multiple pitfalls that come along the way as your mind or your ego will constantly use its tricks to avoid you from doing the work. Mess these up and shadow work will do more harm than good. One of those mistakes is approaching those parts of you with conditional love and greed to manipulate them for your benefit rather than approaching them with unconditional love. In this way, you are adding more pain to their already painful condition. The shadows can see right through you. If you approach them with greed or manipulation at any level, they can see it right through you. Any attempt to get something out of them would sadden them further. Another mistake is giving the command to your mind. Then what happens is your shadow gets into your mind and triggers a programmed robotic reaction. Mind's endless stories of do's and don'ts. This happened, that happened. Fire up, which doesn't get us anywhere. When this happens again and again, we feel frustrated and feel like we are getting nowhere. Making any of the above mistakes will bring you away from the integration of the shadow and towards the disintegration and make the conditions worse. Shadow work danger number 4, pain body attack. Often, when facing your darkness, you'll also find your pain bodies in your shadows. A pain body is a collection of all the emotional pain that you have experienced throughout your life and the beliefs associated with it. Most of the time, it is dormant, but at the times of getting triggered or doing shadow work, it can get activated. Once that happens, and if you are unconscious of this fact, things can get pretty ugly. There can be intense desire to hurt oneself or another person. Some pain bodies drive their hosts to suicide. It is the nature of the pain body. A point to note is pain body attack can succeed at its doings only when you are unconscious of its stream of thoughts and its emotional field. Once you consciously observe it and feel its energy field within, it has no power over you. Shadow work danger number 5, loss of identity. This is the unavoidable part of the shadow work. You have to surrender your identity before diving deep into your shadows. The reason being, to integrate and incorporate the unacceptable, you first have to leave that thing which is making it unacceptable, which in this case is your manufactured identity. This is why shadow work results in permanent loss of particular past identity, which can be scary, hard, or sad for you. When we arrive at the point where we have to let go of something to integrate the shadow, it becomes hard. We become fearful that if we let go of that thing that did ensure our survival for so long, we might die or get abandoned. Now, to deal with the loss of identity requires courage. Courage is the starting step of all change. Courage and acceptance of downside is what's required here. Number 6. Consistent shadow work results in the dark night of the soul. A dark night of the soul is the phenomenon that happens when we are consistently healing the past pain with shadow work and spiritual work. This opens up the floodgates for all the past pain that we have been repressing for ages. All of it gushes up to the surface for healing. This results in the prolonged state of spiritual depression called the dark night of the soul, which is yet another sign of spiritual awakening. Conclusion. So considering all the dangers and downsides of the shadow work that I have mentioned above, you might be thinking, should I even do it? The plain and simple answer to that, my friend, is yes. You should definitely do it. Because if you don't do it, there are a lot more dangers and downsides involved that are far worse than downsides of shadow work itself. Yeah, there are dangers and downsides to it. The darkness is there, but the fruits, flowers, and the light is also there, waiting for you from the other side. As St. John of the Cross said, the endure of darkness is the preparation for the great light.